Alrighty, welcome to episode 186 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has beaten Wall Street expectations by delivering 443,956 vehicles in Q2. It has also reported production of 410,831 vehicles. In so doing, Tesla has reduced its inventory of vehicles by over 33,000, which represents a one-week reduction of days of inventory. In the same quarter, Tesla has reported spectacular record energy storage deployment quarterly growth of 132%, with 9.4 gigawatt hours of batteries installed. Tesla has announced that its Q2 earnings call will be held at 5:30 a.m. on Wednesday the 24th of July, Perth time. Tesla has reintroduced free FSD transfer for all new cars purchased and delivered in Australia between the 1st of July and the 30th of September. Following on from a ridiculous 268-day delay since installation, Western Australia's WAEV network has finally progressed, with Synergy's most troubled 150 kilowatt Kempower fast DC charger site at Ravensthorpe now commissioned and open to all EVs to use. 268 days precisely matches the median time taken from the ovulation of its mother to the birth of a human. Go figure. Anyway, that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and I don't know who wants to go harbours and a baby, because we could make one quicker than Ravens. But anyway, welcome to the show. As is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello.
Yeah, good evening, Mike Tarachi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mike, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't get my camera to work for some reason, so I've never used Zoom. I'm a Microsoft Teams guy, so but yeah, no, I've been monitoring the Facebook and all that, so good to be on board.
Welcome. Do you have a car on order, or have you got one already?
Yeah, no, I've got M3 Highlander, so just the basic model. So got that in March this year. I'm very happy with it. So
yeah, fantastic. Well, congratulations on that awesome purchase. I presume it's a Poverty Pearl White with black interior?
Yes.
Perfect. It's the best value for money, and I'm sure you'll be very, very happy with it.
We've already done, I think, about 7,000 or 8,000 Ks in it, and it love it. So I've got a wall charger and a Tesla power battery and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, no, very happy with it. It's been trouble free.
Fantastic. Well, once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
And please do ask any questions as soon as we start opening for questions, because we really want questions from people who are less experienced, because there's so much to learn about these cars. It can sometimes be overwhelming. So we don't try and bombard everyone with, the whole shooting match. But yeah, please do ask some questions a little bit later on. Just so as to elicit a pregnant pause, I'll see if anyone else in the room is new and is comfortable in saying hello.
Was pregnant pause because of the previous comment about Ravensthorpe?
No, but I'll take it. Thanks, Steve. All right. Anyone?
Hello.
Paul.
Hi, can you hear me? You can.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, new, I think, to the group. Been following the Facebook, etc., for some time. Relatively new owner. Few months before the end of last year, we bought a Poverty Pack Model 3, old style, second hand, and been very happy with it. And I was jumping on here because I do have a couple of questions for when the time comes.
Awesome. No worries. All right. Well, now I am going to go for the pregnant pun intended pause and see if we can go for a trifecta. We don't get them very often, but if there is someone else out there that is new, please do say hello. No, we got the pregnant pause. Okay, cool. Actually, well, Paul, since you asked, you ask away. Go on, ask us anything.
Sure. Thanks very much. So yeah, been driving the car for maybe 6 months or a little more than that now. Been very happy with it. Meet I've met a couple of the faces and names that I can see around the place, Pete and others. Yeah, we're about to this coming weekend take our first sort of decent length trip out of the metro area. It's really only used it around town, which has been great for. But I'm aware that I need to plan the journey a bit better than I would have done otherwise. I don't think it'll be a problem, but the place that we're staying at is not particular. Well, we're driving down to the Prongerups, so a little way north of Albany, and we'll be doing a bit of driving around that area. So I think we're going to be able to do overnight charging at the accommodation. So I've got to remember to take my UMC, I think it's called, with me. Remember to pack that. I think I'll probably need to use a extension cord as well, because I don't know where the plugs are in the place. I have checked with the owners that they're okay for charging, which they are, although it'll probably only be 10 amp charging, so sort of overnight scenario. I was just going to ask any particular tips. I've had a look at ABRP, and I think I'll be either charging at Williams or Kogenup. I think there's a set of superchargers, but any pointers, anything I might not have considered would be welcome.
So if we have a look at PlugShare, if you're going are you going to Albany first?
No, we're going straight to the Prongerups region, so a little way south of the Stirling Range. Yeah, about.
Sort of,
I think it's just slightly south of. Oh, is that? Yeah, a little way south of there.
Yep. So what you can do is when you leave. Sorry, have you got a standard range model?
Yes, standard range model 3.
Yep. Okay. So you just leave home, go straight to Kogenup at the supercharger. No need to charge at Williams unless you are wanting like a comfort stop or to buy some food or whatever, depending on what time of the morning it is or what time of the day it is. So the main thing when you're road tripping is it's always good to opportunistically charge if you're doing something else at the same time. Yeah. But if you're not, so you don't need to stop at Williams. You can go straight to Kogenup and then just charge up at Kogenup, supercharge for 20 minutes or so, and then make your way to where you're going. But obviously, if you were going to stop by at the Woolshed anyway, then you're mad not to charge opportunistically, because you're literally doing something useful, which is charging while you're having brunch or brekkie or whatever. So now just for reference, there is actually a charger if you're sort of in the northern part at the Lily Dutch Windmill. So always look at PlugShare. That's always a good tip.
Yeah.
Just in case. Now the thing is, if you charge on a 10 amp outlet, you'll get approximately 15 Ks of range per hour. So obviously overnight, on just as a rough rule of thumb, overnight you'll get about 150 kilometers of added range, which at a guess is probably more than the distance between Kogenup and the Prongerups. So if you're there for a few days and you're doing a few side trips or whatever, then simply charging on a 10 amp outlet will be more than enough for what you need. A couple of pro tips: if you're at accommodation and, for example, it's got an instantaneous hot water service, there will usually be a 10 amp GPO feeding it, and that'll be on the outside. So your idea of bringing an extension cord is a great idea. You could also consider just bringing a double adapter, because for example, you could then leave if it's a Rinnai Infinity or whatever plugged in while you're charging.
Good point. Thank you.
So just enjoy the trip. Like I said, a lot of people sort of experience what everyone describes as range anxiety, and really that's no longer a thing anymore, because it really was a matter of being anxious that there was something along the route to charge at, not how far your car can go, because your car can bash out, if you're taking it steady, well in excess of 350 kilometers, which that will get you to Prongerups without recharging at all. So just enjoy the trip. That's really the main takeaway from that.
Yeah, good. I think I'll be fine. But yeah, just if there are any point, and the pro tips are helpful. What
Yeah,
one
Paul.
other? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, could I recommend if you do get an extension cord for the 10 amps, make sure it's a extra heavy duty,
Oh yeah,
because they can get hot, and you
yeah,
want to, if you go for the cheapest one, you can scorch them. So give yourself a
yeah,
bit of reserve capacity.
yeah. That's a good point. I think I have one that I use for the garden, which is quite heavy duty. So I'll probably either take that one with me. I do have a 15 amp extension as well, but that means I need that to be a 15 amp socket at the other end.
Yeah, unfortunately
So,
so. Unless you do something really naughty, which I would not recommend, which is such as grinding down the earth pin. But I never said
yeah,
that.
yeah. All
Um,
right, won't do that.
but as Steve said, definitely do get a heavy duty version. Some are quite light duty, and when you do
Yes.
pull the full 10 amps, the actual cable actually you're also wasting energy as well because you're going to get volt drop, and your car
Losing.
won't charge as quickly as it
Yeah,
otherwise would, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
volt drop could be 5%.
yeah,
So on a cheaper cable.
yeah. Okay.
But obviously
Thank
only
you.
use the extension cord if you need to. So the UMC is quite long. I don't exactly remember how long it is, but it's probably about 5-ish meters off the top of my head.
Yeah,
It's pretty long in itself.
yeah,
And, with some judicious car placement, you can usually, just use the UMC as it is.
yeah, yeah. Good. Okay. Thank you.
No
I did
worries.
notice I noticed on PlugShare there's a not a supercharger but a lower level of charger of some sort in Mount Barker, I think. So that's what I might end up using as well.
Uh,
One,
I haven't actually seen that in Mount Barker. It
I
might
think I.
go up as, no, 10 amps. Yes, it's Plantagenet Shire.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's just a 10 amp, I think it is. 15 amp outlet.
Oh, okay, at the council building, I think, or the Shire building or something.
Yeah, so it's just there and it's been labelled for a FEV. That's really interesting.
Is it?
Maybe yeah, I don't know why, but I mean, that's if you're really desperate. But see, the thing is, you don't really need to be desperate because
Yeah.
your car will absolutely tell you, well, you'll know how much you've got in your car. Whenever you navigate to a route, it'll tell you roughly what it thinks it's going to have left when you arrive. So there's really no need. If you charge up for, say, 20 minutes or so, or maybe even half an hour at Kojonup, if you're staying at your accommodation for a few days, just like I said, just 10-hour period, you get about 150 kilometers of range added.
Yeah.
Obviously, if
Yeah.
it's a 20-hour period, it's double that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've got one other little question, if I may.
Yes, absolutely.
For the first time in I don't know how long, I had a screw in a tyre recently, and of course I don't have a spare or anything else in the car. So I sent my wife off to buy or on her way home from somewhere else to buy a tyre plug kit from Supercheap, which I
Yep.
managed to use and plug the tyre. It appears to be successful. But it did leave me thinking if that repair failed while we're away, or if I have another such incident while I'm away, is there some way of, I don't know, borrowing, or is there an outlet or somewhere you can recommend for a spare?
Yep. So we actually do have spares available. Actually, we don't right this minute, but we will. We've got a shipment of 10 new spare tire kits, which have the entire tire, jack, wheel brace in a bag to skinny spare.
Yeah,
And we've got 6 for Model Ys and 4 for Model 3s. So they've been dispatched yesterday or today, I can't remember, and they'll be in Perth in the next week or so. So,
yeah,
look, the temporary tire repair slug thing, on my old Model X that I used to have, I did a temporary repair, and that lasted for the rest of the tire's life, which was 30 to 35,000 k's later, when the tire just wore out from old
yeah,
age. So,
yeah. Okay.
to be honest, even though they are intended, and I think they sort of say it's a temporary thing, emergency sort of patch, they last surprisingly long time. And look, if something happens to it, you can always put another one in. One recommendation is definitely bring yourself an air compressor,
Yeah, yeah,
because even if you just have a tech screw and you're not near a service station, you can at least pump up the tire,
yeah,
and keep going. Even if you
yeah,
have to do that every 50 k's, in
yeah,
the worst case, that's
yeah,
a useful thing to have.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Am I right in saying that these tires have got something in them, some sort of filling other than air?
Oh, well, yes, they may have a foam
Yeah,
lining
yeah,
that is for to reduce noise or audible noise. But there's nothing else in the tires, so there's no sort of gump or anything that will naturally gump itself up or whatever.
yeah,
You can get those sort of things. Most of us don't recommend it. You may end up having to replace your TPMS, and that sort of costs the best part of $100.
yeah,
You're
right.
much better off doing what you did do, which was just put the unvulcanized slug in there. You know,
Yeah,
depending on where the hole is, whether it's the front or back, if you position the vehicle judiciously, you can usually fit it on the car while
yeah,
while the tire's on the car, so you don't even need a jack. And like I said, they work really well.
yeah, yeah. That actually was a challenge because I did need to take the wheel off, and there's actually not much clearance under a Model 3 at all, I found. So I was
Yeah,
particularly
so big.
having put that little puck thing in place.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yes, yeah, absolutely. So one little pro tip is if, and I don't know the dimensions of this, if you just get yourself something like a wooden block that is roughly the height of the jack. And what I found when I had a flat tire at, I don't know, quarter to midnight south of Alice Springs, was that on my Model Y, the jack actually wouldn't fit. And I didn't use a puck. I just used a super flat caravan jack, and it's less than 2 inches tall, and it would not fit under the car. But something that is a great feature of these cars is they are so stiff that if you jack up one corner, so either the front or rear, one of the sides, it will actually jack up the entire side of the car. Not quite perfectly evenly, but it will. Or in fact, if you jack it up high enough, you can actually do tire swaps from front to back just with one jack. So, what a little pro tip is, if you have a block of wood that's roughly the height of the jack, what you then do is, if you can't get the jack under where the flat tire is on that end, just move it to the front or the rear, the opposite end of the car, jack that up a little bit, slide your wooden block in, take the jack out, and you put the wooden block next to where the jack point is, and that's perfectly okay. That's under the proper sill where that's all reinforced. And then you'll be able to take your jack out the front, say, and then put it into the back and jack up the car. And obviously, once you put the inflated tire on, you have no issues getting the jack out.
Yeah, yeah,
So just a
okay,
little
yeah,
pro tip that
yeah,
I literally learnt on the side of the road in the middle of the dark, in the middle of nowhere,
yeah,
not even realizing that was a thing, an issue.
yeah.
And I didn't use a puck either, so it would have been even much worse with a puck.
Yeah, I ended up, thankfully, the tire wasn't completely flat, so I actually ended up driving the wheel up onto some bricks to give me the height to get the jack underneath it. So there's always more than one way to skin a cat, isn't there? But
Absolutely.
yeah, okay, cool. So thanks for that, Shane. Those kits won't be in for when I'm departing, but I'll remember that for next time.
Look, just bring your what's name kit, your puncture repair kit, and
Should be right.
you should be perfectly fine. The chances of getting a catastrophic flat on new tires is pretty low.
Yep.
I mean, it does happen, but it's
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah.
Or if you need something for your trip, I've got a spare Model 3 tyre. So, yeah, if you've got the jack and everything else, I've got a spare tyre spare wheel, that you're welcome to borrow. You got the SR Plus, so 18-inch wheels from memory, haven't you?
Yes, that's right. The sort of base standard model. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
very much, Pete. I'll think on that, and if I think I've got room and the need for it, I'll give you a bell.
No problem. I'll
many
put
thank-
my
many thanks.
number in the chat if you need it.
Lovely. Thank you. Thanks. that's all.
Sorry, one last quick tip is with some of those tire repair kits. One of the tools that they're often missing is a pair of pliers,
Yeah,
which can be very handy if you need to take out a screw or
That's
nail.
absolutely right.
Yeah, good idea to pack one of those in with the kids.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It is missing it, and I discovered that, so I did pack one. So there's now one sitting in my frunk along with that. So yeah, good point.
And don't forget the air compressor.
Yes, yeah, that's something I need to
either-
invest in.
If you get a battery powered one, make sure the battery's fully charged. Or if you've got an inverter, just bring an inverter if you're using it for something else and the battery charger. Or you can get one of the 12-volt powered, DC powered compressors.
That just
And
plugs into the 12 volt
cigarette
outlet.
lighter, or for lack of I guess it's called a power source. I don't even know what they call them these days. Power
Yeah.
source, 12-volt power source,
Yeah,
cylindrical power source.
Yeah.
So yeah, just you can just buy one of those, and then you'll always be able to use it.
yeah. Good point. Thank you very much.
Very good. Now, before we go to some more questions, and I do note that Chuck is in the house. He's joining us from the future in Tasmania, and something that's exciting is the new Tesla, the O'Connor Tesla site, which is actually looking just amazing. Now, Pete, do you want to describe what you've sort of heard or seen or read on the interwebs and what's been alleged out there?
So this was on our Chocolate Facebook page. One of our members, Steve Ives, commented on a post of mine saying that he's been given the date of the 8th of July, which is next Monday, as the delivery for his Model 3. But the location of that delivery is Carrington Street, the new O'Connor store. So sounds like there is no official news as yet, but sounds like it may be open from next week, or perhaps they're starting to do some deliveries prior to the open. But yeah, sounds like next week might be the first few deliveries from Carrington Street in O'Connor. An amazing facility.
That's really interesting. I'll just, I happened to pop my drone up this Arvo, and look, I mean, obviously things can get done quickly, but there's a lot of work happening along the side. So you can see they're actually still laying down bitumen and doing a lot of things. The roof is actually not complete. So this is a little bit clunky doing it this way, but you can actually see at the back of the compound. I don't imagine they'll be delivering a lot of cars here unless, something miraculous happens in the next. Look, I can't see that this is anything like finished in the next couple of days. So
Doesn't
it's
look like
really-
it, does it?
No, and this was literally taken this afternoon. So there is a lot of activity, and I just don't see that this site would be handed over effectively to have, strangers walking and driving all over it and all around it. So I'm got to say I'm very skeptical, unless they do something just for a few cars at the very front. Because, for example, there are no cars here. You can see it looks like this section up here, is probably where they are going to wash cars, because it's like a bit of a shed. There could be a flow through with the roller door. In fact, I'll just get the other side shot.
Do we know for sure that that incomplete looking section is part of the Tesla site?
Oh yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
if I take the back, there's a back shot. So this is the back. This is the entire. This is 19,000 square meters.
Wow, it's
this
huge.
entire block, and that is all Tesla. So
So to put that into perspective, the current site is somewhere around roughly 1,000 square meters, so a quarter of an acre, and this is going to be 5 acres, or a quarter, 4.75 acres. So yeah.
yeah, it's vastly larger. It's quite interesting the re-roofing what they're doing there. I mean, that's this classic sort of zigzag thing. So I imagine this would be this would basically be where the delivery part would be, I imagine, because you need a lot of hard stand and you want it enclosed. And then obviously, I think the service center will be in here. And obviously at the front is where you've got, I'll just go back to the original image. At the front is the showroom, which is an awesome showroom, although you can see there's nothing in it yet, but there were some desks over here. Bit hard to see. So they're certainly getting close, but there is still a lot of works going on the site, and there's quite a few Teslas here actually. And well, there you go. Actually, they will be delivered because these are undelivered cars. So perhaps they are going to load them into the showroom for some deliveries. So that's something I just realized just then. They are brand new cars. So yeah, perhaps it will be some deliveries on the 8th of July, but I don't think it's going to be delivering cars in force, like lots of them. I think this is just probably just to get things started while the builders finish off everything they need to do. Alrighty.
It's also,
yes,
just
please.
quickly, it's worthwhile just comparing the size of this site and the new site in Osborne Park, which is going to be roughly, is it 4,000 to 5,000 square meters? Harold?
Yeah, so if let's just see if I can get my skills up to find where this is. Okay. That's, here we go. Rightio. Layers. Okay. So the Carrington Street site is that if we now put in Tesla Perth, it's reset. All right, we'll do this in a different way. We'll go to Carrington Street. And I won't change the zoom. So that's the entire site. If we then quickly, and sorry if this is going to be a bit boring.
While you're doing that, Harold, I'll just quickly mention that the last few tickets are going fast for the go-karts next Sunday. That's the 7th of July at 3 p.m, the electric go-karts. So all the information is on our Facebook page, and there should also be emails from secretary@tokla.org.au in your inbox with all the details.
Okay, so if we remember, which we've probably forgotten the site, this section here is the new Osborne Park site that is under development or redevelopment. So that's significantly smaller than the Carrington Street site. And then if we skip along to the Main Street site, it looks embarrassingly puny. That's the site there. So that's the comparison. Basically, it's vastly, vastly larger. Both sites, but Carrington Street is absolutely the biggest. And that's the one that's all but certain to have a paint shop and panel beating shop as well. which will be great. It means that technically it should be the lowest cost, hopefully, for any panel repairs and paint repairs.
So are you saying that's a definite, the collision repair centre?
No, but we do know that Tesla did have some job ads regarding that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
on the presumption that they're still going ahead as they have in other capital cities, then it makes sense that that would be at Carrington Street because of just the heft of the site, just the size of it, the extent of it. It makes the most sense to have it at O'Connor, and that is where one or two job ads indicated that would be the location. So,
Yeah.
presuming
It's
Tesla
highly
have
probable.
not, highly probable, yeah, absolutely.
So the footprints of the two new sites combined is roughly about 23,000 square metres. If we ignore the delivery centre, which has always been a temporary site in Osborne Park, Tesla's effectively going from 1,000 square metres to 23,000 square metres. So 23 times its footprint, which is a huge jump in capability and in footprint. So I think we'll be well taken care of, at least for the next couple of years in WA.
Absolutely.
South of the river.
Well, there'll be one north and one south, so that's great too. It's something that we thought it was an achievement just to get a showroom at all and a proper service centre at all. The other one was
Actually, Harold, sorry to interrupt, but do you remember when that was announced and we were all jumping up and down when
we were losing our minds, basically, just quietly. We were literally losing our minds.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. It really is great that was finally done. That we thought that was an achievement just to get a showroom and a better service centre, one that isn't adjacent to the cemetery. But obviously Tesla have outgrown it, and they've shown commitment to a massive showroom. I mean, it is spectacular. And when the Cybertruck sits in that spectacular showroom, there's going to be plenty of space for crowds of people to admire it, and
it's a perfect place for it.
It is, absolutely.
Maybe Tesla's just waiting for the showroom to actually open, and the Cybertruck will come.
Actually, we know it won't, because it's just arrived in Victoria, and it'll most likely be in Victoria for at least a month. So
about 3 weeks.
Hmm.
Yeah, just under 3 weeks, like 19 days or something like that.
Yeah,
from what they've put up on the website so far. Yeah.
And it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to then ship it straight from Victoria to Perth, when it could go either to Brisbane, or it could or it should go to Adelaide, if that's the case. If it's not going to Brisbane yet, it should definitely go to Adelaide on its way to Perth.
Chuck might have a thing or two to say about that. I can see him jumping up and down.
And absolutely, it should catch a ride. Oh, gee, that would be awesome to see that too. It should catch a ride on the Spirit of Tasmania. And
well, apparently it can float, so who knows?
Yeah,
don't think it would cope with those sorts of waves though.
Depending on, I've been across there and it's been pretty smooth, to be honest, but thankfully. But yeah, I bet you're right. If there's a cold front happening, or storms, it's not going to survive. But yes, and absolutely. Go, Chuck.
Chuck, if it doesn't go to Hobart or Tassie, are you going to come and see it?
Well, best opportunity would have been Sydney or Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne. And they would have already left there by then. So who knows? I would like to come across to Perth again, but I think I need to re-earn my annual leave for a bit longer, I think, after the last time.
Well, that's cool because, as you know, Chuck, we're coming to see you en masse.
That's it.
So,
That's it.
so well, in this room, there are at least 2 people coming. Yeah, what's the name? It's not here yet. Shane isn't here today, but we've got. And Steve, are you bringing your caravan?
Yep, booked onto the Spirit of Tasmania.
So, was that on the 25th, by any chance?
I think it might be.
So Chuck, there are going to be 3 caravans being towed by, well, all Teslas, coincidentally, coming to Hobart from WA, and 1 or 2 other cars that are just being boring and just towing themselves.
Oh, that's all right. That's right.
So we'll definitely be looking out for any tips as to where we should go for a casual meetup on the Thursday, the last day of October. I keep forgetting what date that is, whether it's the 30th or 31st.
31st, I think it is. Yeah,
31st of
that
October.
sounds right.
So
I'll keep my eyes open. I'll try and think of some ideas.
yeah, cool. I'm not sure where we're going to put our caravans. I guess we'll have to put them in a caravan park, of course. But anyway, we'll sort that
Yeah,
out in the next
might
few
be a
months.
struggle. If I had space in my driveway, I would offer it, but unfortunately not. It's a little bit too cramped.
Well, we could just take over your whole house, and we'll just park the caravans across everywhere.
Thanks for the offer, Charles. That's great.
Yeah. We just need 3 lots of 15 amp outlets, please. That'll be. But
I live at the end of a cul-de-sac that has a driveway pretty much, every 4 meters. So just park them all on the street and you'll piss off all the neighbors,
yes, Tesla takeover.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, that'll happen in the next few months, which is pretty exciting. And yeah, no doubt we'll touch base, Chuck, and lay some plans
Yep.
and work out what we're doing. But
Sounds
yeah,
good.
Steve, it sounds like I think Shane and Sarah are also on the same 25th because that was the latest you could get at the moment for the bookings on the Spirit of Tassie. So anyway, it should be good fun. Alrighty.
Have they got a Spirit of Tassie? I thought it had all gone hideously over budget and horribly wrong. But
Oh yeah, so Chuck, please tell us, have the new ships arrived yet? Are they using any of them yet, or is that still a work in progress?
No. The first one has finished construction in Finland, and it was doing some sea trials a couple of weeks ago on the Baltic Sea. Is that the one that Finland's on? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it was doing some sea trials there, and the second one's scheduled for maybe 6 to 12 months after that. So they won't be in service in Tassie until after you guys are here, I don't think. Maybe December, maybe early next year for the first one.
Yeah, right. Oh, okay, that's a shame because I do know one of those Spirits of Tassie. I forget which one, whether it's 2 or 3 or whatever that's called. Are they called 3 or 4 or whatever?
1
it
and
is?
2.
1 and 2.
The current ones are 1 and 2. Yeah.
1 and 2. One of them's got a horrendous engine shake, like a rattle. The other one's okay, but
Yeah.
one of them is just horrendous. And it's hard to sleep because you can just feel it. But anyway,
That's all right.
alrighty now.
Probably not an engine. It would be the drive shaft or the propeller.
Yes, yeah, it's pretty bad. We had it. We were in the when I did a lap with my wife and including Tassie, a slow lap. We thought we'd lash out and get one of the premium cabins with the double bed and whatever at the very front, and we couldn't sleep because there was just this resonance of vibration that was shocking. So we actually downgraded our return ticket and just got one of the standard side, cheaper cabins, and that was a lot quieter, but still you could still feel it. Anyway, so Chuck, obviously since you're here and you're the charging man, I was going to say there's been a lot that's happened charging wise, except there sort of hasn't. I mean, we've had Rob Dean, establish that El Dunder is just as crappy as it was the day it was installed. and that's really disappointing. You know, we've seen that at Tennant Creek, well, it's called Tennant Creek, but it's actually at Three Ways
Three Ways, yeah.
Roadhouse, that charger, there's no confirmation that that charger is up and running yet, even though I think PlugShare says, well, the last person that checked in claimed that it was going to be connected sort of the next couple of days to power, that is. There's been a bit of progress in the WAEV network. Horizon Power, obviously Synergy have got with the very belated energization or activation of the Ravensthorpe site.
Yeah.
That is Synergy's penultimate site. Their last site will be Northam, and Northam is actually expected to be completed in August, so next month. And that will be the end of Synergy's, I think it was 22 sites out of the 49. Then Horizon Power are currently fitting out, it's mainly the solar panels. Most of the kiosks and battery storage and generators have been fitted to what was called the Muller Ranges. It's called something else, Rest Stop, something Cliff, Ningen or some, yeah.
Is it Mary Pool or whatever it is?
No, it moved. No, it
Mhm.
changed. No,
Ah.
it changed. Thankfully, because Mary Pool was a nightmare site. Actually, it's on PlugShare. I'll just bring it up, and there's actually a photo of it too, which is pretty cool. We'll just get PlugShare up, and it is called the Ngumban Cliff Rest Area, and this is actually the site. So I can't zoom in, unfortunately, but this is the kiosk with your Tritium RTM and your ChargeMate.
Oh, the next picture has a better view.
Um,
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at the red dust already on it. This doesn't take long. And basically, if we go back to the original view, these three boxes are just the solar panels. And then you've got the concrete sort of foundations where you do the ground mount panels. This is the 50-ish kilowatt backup generator, diesel generator, and behind it is the battery system and inverters. So that's at the Ngumban Cliff Rest area, which is basically between Fitzroy Crossing and Halls Creek. They also have progress Bidgidanga, which is just near, actually just here at the turnoff, right here, which if I just change to satellite view, there's actually like a little bit of a parking area. And I think from memory, the charger is about here off the side of the road. And that's really key because we did have an incident with Pardue, the Pardue charger, whereby, and unfortunately it was Rob Dean. There's actually a nice photo of it, sort of in the middle of nowhere. But basically, when Rob Dean went to use it, this is the last. I don't think Bill's actually been there, but unfortunately for Rob Dean, Horizon had switched off the DC charger a couple of weeks ago without telling anyone. As it turns out, that was actually accidental, and it took some time to get it switched back on because it was locked out and a key had to be posted or sent, dispatched. But basically, you're going to have Bidgidanga, which is roughly here, and Sandfire Roadhouse, which is actually here, which would be great because Sandfire has been difficult to charge at. That means that you can go from Pardue to Broome. All you need is one of these chargers operating, either Bidgidanga or Pardue, to make it to Broome. You can obviously then, basically with Derby, and also Derby is showing as offline because the Kempower actually had a failure in it, and there were some parts that have been procured and they're going to fit them soon. So basically, once we get either Bidgidanga or Sandfire, then you'll basically have an unbroken string of pearls pretty much. So Port Hedland isn't in yet, or Wim Creek, which is halfway between, but you've got enough charge in most cars to get from Karratha to Pardue, and then obviously you can go Karratha, Nyanyatara. Manilya is also is at a similar stage whereby the kiosk is installed and they're just going to install the solar panels. In fact, I think Manilya is going to be the next operating
The
Horizon panel
solar's
site.
the solar's complete at Manilya. They just need
Right.
to commission it.
Awesome. So hopefully that'll happen over the next coming days, I guess.
Hope so.
Certainly by the end of the month. And Manilya makes it great to get to Exmouth without having to be cautious. I think it's 300 it's a high 300 kilometers from Carnarvon. And the great thing too is when you have gaps of about 200 kilometers when you're not towing, so you're just driving a car. The beautiful thing about that is you don't have to charge up to anything beyond sort of 75, 80%. So what it means is you can gain about 100 kilometers of range for every 10 minutes of charging at the 150 kilowatt Kempower, and at the 50 kilowatt tritiums, you're getting about 100 Ks every 20 minutes. So at the tritiums in 40 minutes, you'll have enough range to get to your next location. So you don't have to sit there for a solid hour and a bit to fully charge, as you do in some sites now. Obviously, if you're towing a caravan, all that goes out the window because your effective range pretty much halves depending on what you're towing and what speed you're doing. So therefore, once the WEV network is completed, and once the Great Northern Highway, fingers crossed, is hopefully completed, because that's a gaping gap in the highway network. The next focus will be to try and get infill locations at 100 kilometre intervals, which at first sounds a little bit like we're being greedy, but the advantages, if you're towing a caravan, you just charge quickly at each location. And if you're in an ordinary EV without a caravan, you've got a multitude of leapfrogging opportunities, albeit whether it's a failure or congestion or whatever. So that's the next impetus, is to try and get that to happen.
So there were those couple of sites between Port Hedland and Broome. Was it Port Hedland and Broome? Yeah, those couple
Yes.
of sites that you mentioned.
Yep.
Are they slightly offset from where the original expectation was for those charges, or is it pretty much where you
No.
thought they'd be?
But yeah, basically,
Yeah.
so it was always going to be Pardue. So out of
Yep.
Port Hedland, it was always going to be Pardue, Sandfire. They called it Lagrange,
Right.
but it sort of is known as that. If you look on PlugShare, Lagrange is there. Well, actually, it's actually a region. It's not really. There's no town.
Right. Yeah.
But it's sort of like a region, and it's just become Bidgidanga because the community is just here, and they're just doing it at the turn off, because Bidgidanga is actually an Aboriginal community, so they don't really want people to necessarily go into the community, and also it's a long access road,
Diversion.
long diversion. Yeah, exactly. And there's a perfectly good parking area, which caravans often rest there, and so that's a good location. So that they were always in plan, Chuck. So I presume the NRMA will probably co-locate at Bidgidanga, Sandfire, Pardue. They're just going to plant their flag.
Do they don't have any other options, really? Do they?
No,
Not
but
practical.
I really do wish that perhaps our federal environment and I think energy minister really thought out of the did some lateral thinking and say what is the best outcome for the EV community? Is it to have one petrol station on each corner of two intersecting streets, or have one on one corner and another one, 2 or 3 kilometers down the road, and so on? So for the community, it would be much better if these locations were interleaved with gaps.
Yeah.
But, the NRMA, it's a corporate entity. It's going to maximise the bang for the dollars that it's spending, while also accepting the federal dollars that it's been given, and it'll do what we know it's going to do, which is just co-locate with all the other sites. I guess the only good thing is WAV network on the off-grid sites, they're 50 kilowatt tritiums. The NRMA are providing 75 kilowatt
75. Yeah.
tritiums.
If it's the same as our board road house everywhere, then yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
and God help us with the tritiums, because I
Yeah.
think we'll need it. But hey, perhaps they will be replaced in the fullness of time, like it
Yeah,
seems
quite-
NRMA is replacing FreeWire and
Yeah.
I think some tritiums as well, actually, or the old RTs.
Yeah. I think on the NRMA network, I think it was 117 locations nationwide and 30 were going to be the off-grid ones. So I'm not sure how much of this area is covered, because I know there are some microgrids and things like that in the northwest. So it could be that bigger towns like Broome and Port Hedland might actually get the permanently
Yes.
installed ones, the ABBs. They might
Yes.
might get those.
Yeah, so Port Hedland's got a huge grid. Broome's got a huge grid.
Yeah.
I'm not certain about Fitzroy Crossing and Halls Creek.
Yeah.
They have smaller grids. They may be restricted on power. I mean, in fact, they certainly are, as far as Horizon Power with the WAV network charges actually deliberately make the their Chem Powers ramp gently. So the NRMA will probably have to do a similar thing.
Yeah.
I actually wish they would use Chem Powers, to be honest, for even the 50 kilowatt sites, because something we learnt from the Kalbarri site was its nameplate is 75 kilowatts, but what they did was they've got two power modules which happen to be 50 kilowatts each, and the Chem Power has been dialed to 90 kilowatts at Kalbarri, even though its nameplate is 75. So Chem Power is a great product as far as that's concerned. That would be a really good option, should the tritiums blow up or whatever. But yeah, so all of the off-grid sites will just be the 75 kilowatt tritiums, I guess, Chuck, which they're doing at the moment. There's no indication they're doing anything differently. And then all the strong grid sites will be the ABB Terra 180s.
Yeah.
So that'll actually be an improvement. That'll be an upgrade at many of those locations to the WAV network.
And it means when there's a hardware failure, it means there's somewhere else to go, I guess, which it seems like a real waste now, but if there was a failure at a critical point, I suppose you'd be pretty thankful for it then.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, there was such a failure that was part of the Telstra. It was a hangover from the Telstra failure, where some incorrect firmware was programmed into the Jurien Bay charger, and there was unfortunately a gentleman in a MG4, I think it was, that had to get his car towed from Jurien Bay to Lancelin, and that was really unfortunate that had to happen, because unfortunately the standby AC charger was also offline because it didn't think it was connected to the internet.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, alrighty. Has anyone got any other questions or comments? Tesla's share price is up last night, and it's up today. Don't know why. That's
happy.
that's some pretty good news.
Because they published delivery figures.
Yes, and to my great frustration, I'm just going to send this to my computer. I've got a little bone to pick with Alan Kohler from the finance section of the ABC News, because he basically made a huge clanger in tonight's news, because he did comment on Tesla's 10% rise, and he actually claimed it was due to their reduction in deliveries not being as bad as expected, which I guess is kind of correct, but It's not really the right way to say it. But the clanger that
It's
he made,
ignoring the Megapack Tesla Energy figures, which were just out of this world. Double last quarter.
precisely, and I'll just bring back that graph that we had in the news, and I mean that just says everything. You know,
Yeah.
Q2 sold more than Q2 and Q3, and nearly 2/3 of Q4 combined. You know, that's just spectacular growth. There's just no other way to put it. The clanger that Alan Kohler did, and I had to quickly just grab my phone to take a photo, was the good, the magnificent, and the boring, and basically saying that the AI Magnificent Seven, being Alphabet, Microsoft, and Nvidia, you know, they've gone up, and the non-AI Magnificent Four, being Apple, Amazon, Meta, and Tesla. And it's like, Alan, have you heard of a thing called a robotaxi? You know, at all, possibly? And have you heard of something called Optimus? Because if that's not AI, I don't know what is. And I think in the next few years, the whole world is going to discover just how much Tesla has invested and how that fruit how that investment is bearing fruit. So yeah, not a great report on the ABC. But
No.
Tesla's up 10%. Everyone seems to be happy.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess we should
It's
be
even
happy too.
up after market as well, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. According to Nasdaq, they're up another. Oh, it's actually about 2%, $235.
Oh,
So it's come off a little bit.
oh,
Alrighty. Actually, something else we did today, not everyone did, but a few people in the room did do, is we went to see the big battery, the Kwinana big battery next to the power station. And there were some sort of interesting facts about that. I think it was 800 megawatt hours was the second stage. And
yeah.
a couple of interesting things. They've got sort of containerized batteries, and there are 4 containerized batteries per inverter and transformer, step-up transformer. And basically these batteries, they actually put them in series. There were 8 batteries at 150 volts each in banks, and that basically produces 1200 volts, which then feeds into this inverter, which produces 690 volts AC, which is then stepped up to 33 kilovolts, and then at the actual switch yard, they step that up to 330 kilovolts. And basically, you know, this battery, one interesting thing was, unlike Tesla with their megapacks, these things do not produce synthetic inertia. And the claim was made that Kwinana strip area doesn't need synthetic inertia, so spinning reserve or anything like that, which was kind of interesting. And obviously that big battery project was supplied by CATL. Whereas the Collie big battery for, I don't know if it's Synergy, definitely for Neoen megapacks, and that's going to be 2,000 megawatt hours, or was it 4, something like that?
2000 is the first stage for the big Collie one, and then there's the second stage, which will be another 2000.
Yep. So 4
Yeah,
gigawatt
4.
hours. And is Neoen 2
Mm,
or
so-
4 as well, or it might be 2. And they'll probably extend it because they just keep making money, basically. You know, with every battery storage they get, basically arbitraging the market.
It sounded like, from an economic perspective, it was a bit of a no-brainer, especially since it was one of the first ones to be commissioned. But what did we work out? Roughly about.
So I worked out that it's
it
costs
18 cents.
a dollar a watt hour, or let's call it $1,000 a kilowatt hour, installed from fresh, from new. And it lasts 15 years. So that's 5,000 odd cycles. If you divide that down, it basically means, on the presumption that at the end of 15 years, the plant is worth 0, which is actually not true. So I'll see if I can get an image up that I took of the actual inside of the batteries. And what they are, they're in modules. They actually look a little bit like the interior of a supercharger cabinet. And we'll just get this image up. And basically what they are, they're like rack-mounted battery modules, which are replaceable. So the intention is, one interesting thing was, once the capacity of the entire battery falls below its nameplate, then that is the time at which they change cells out, swap cells out, which is quite surprising. So obviously it's actually been built at a higher capacity than its nameplate at the moment. These are the cells once this thing downloads. So these things are rack mounted. There's 8 in series, and there are, I think there must be 6 banks. I think there's 2 lots of these 3 banks. And like I said, they're all 1200 volts in series, and these are replaceable. So these are the full width of a sea container, or the length is the width of the sea container, and they can be pulled out and swapped. So basically, if you presume the $1,000 per kilowatt hour entire lifetime cost, then what it means is it works out that it costs 18 cents per kilowatt hour to store and deliver that energy as one site per cycle. And 18 cents sounds like a lot, but when your wholesale price can fall below 0 and go negative, so you get paid to take it, and the retail price varies between 8 cents, which you would not be bothering to supply, you'd be actually absorbing, to 30 to 50 cents per kilowatt hour in the peak times, then that's plenty of arbitrage to make money. And because these battery banks are all removable, and all of these other electrical fixtures, which do cost a lot of money, and the inverters would last much longer than the batteries, all you need to do is pull the batteries out, which do have a residual value, and slot in new ones. So the ongoing consumable cost would probably be much less than the 18 cents per kilowatt hour stored and delivered. So like Pete said, it's basically a no-brainer. And like the people at Synergy suggested, the value isn't just its economic value in terms of arbitrage, it's also grid stability. And like he explained, one big problem that Perth has is, because we are a very long, narrow city, we're 10 kilometres wide, I think he said 150 kilometres long. I mean, I guess you could say, as far as the Swiss is concerned, that's correct, because you've got Mandurah and Bunbury and all that sort of stuff. You can get a cloud bank that virtually hits this narrow strip almost simultaneously. So it can really affect solar production on a large scale and make it very volatile. And that's where these batteries are intended to alleviate these fluctuations. And of course, you know, in the fullness of time, they'll be using our EVs to do similar things, whereby they'll encourage us to charge during the daytime, and obviously not charge during the bottom of the duck curve, where the peak at 6 p.m., 5, 6, 7 p.m. And no doubt they'll start giving us products that have price signals, or even regulation that says, it's almost all but certain that EVSEs will be regulated the same way as solar inverters are. So they'll have to be compliant, so they can be curtailed if they need to. Anyway, enough of that. Oh, look, to be honest,
I don't agree with it.
Yeah, the problem is, they can't allow, like with solar inverters, you can't allow it just to pour energy willy-nilly into the grid with gay abandon, because eventually your demand will go negative.
But if we had sufficient infrastructure, you could. And the state government has known about this for 10 years, and there's still people as recently as 2 years ago, saying we've been caught flat-footed. No one could have expected the take-up of solar, in recent years. So no doubt we'll be hearing similar comments in a few years' time. People saying no one could have predicted the take-up of EVs to be so quick. It's just a draconian measure, and it's a admission that the state has failed to plan sufficient infrastructure to support whether it's a take-up of solar or take-up of EVs. So, because imagine curtailing solar is one thing, but curtailing the charging of EVs is a completely another thing. So, you might have a trip planned, a holiday planned. All of a sudden, you don't have enough juice in your car. There might be an emergency. You might have to go to hospital or somewhere, and you can't get there because your charger's been, limited, curtailed. I really don't see how that's going to fly. But
if they implement the normal load shedding, what's it called? It's an acronym that basically it has levels of shedding. Demand response. So you get what's called a DRED, a demand response enabling device, and it has 4 levels of demand response. One is you should curtail to 75% of what you were doing for the last 5 minutes. The next level of curtailment is to 50% of the average of the last 5 minutes. The third level is 25%, and the most severe level is stop drawing power, and also works in reverse. It does that in the reverse. So you always have, as a consumer, you always have an option to have an override button to override if you actually do need to use that power. So there's always an override function. So because as we know, EVs generally
it's not
don't.
cheap though. You've got to pay for it, and you've got to pay through the nose for it.
No, not if it's domestic stuff, not under normal regulations. You are permitted to do it once, and then what happens is if the response comes, if the module reinitiates that demand response again, that will override your override, and then you cannot reinitiate it. So if things get really bad,
but you're assuming you get some sort of a notification on your app, and you see that notification, and then you override it. If you don't have your phone with you, especially if there's an emergency and you're running around like a headless chook, the last thing you're going to be looking at is the notifications on your phone. And, you jump in your car to go to hospital only to realise that it doesn't have sufficient charge.
Yes, but yeah, that's kind of true. But I mean, one thing that all good EV owners do, and it's something that everyone should do, is just as a matter of routine, is you've got your wall connector or your UMC plugged into your garage or carport or whatever, and just as a routine thing, a daily thing you do, when you get home you plug in, and when you wake up in the morning you unplug, so that on average, on a daily basis or roughly daily basis, you'll wake up in the morning with your car either fully charged if it's a standard range car, or charged generally to 80% if it's a long range car. So that's just good sort of
good charging regime,
good behavior. Yeah. So, and we can always pick out an exception, but of course you could have also just simply forgotten to plug your car in. And I've got to tell you, if you've got to wait to take someone to emergency on AC charging, it's just not going to cut it. So, we don't want to sort of besmirch EVs and say that they're difficult to use. If you just plug in on a daily basis, just as part of your routine, whether you need it or not, you can obviously also go on the EV tariff if you're on the midday saver plan, but you've got to do your numbers as far as how much you're going to consume, because people say, oh, we can shift behavior to midday, but when you're home and it's a hot summer's day, you are going to turn your aircon on, and you will be spending 51 cents per kilowatt hour at 7:30 at night, regardless. That's just what's going to happen. So you need to do your numbers. Otherwise, you need to get a battery pack, blah, blah, whatever. But, you can't, EVs are easy to use. You can put a timer. So in your car, you can actually set when it starts charging. So if you've got a cheaper deal after 11 p.m., then obviously set it for that. If you've got your car at home, obviously try and charge it during the daytime if you've got solar, because it's basically basically free. If you're at workplaces, encourage your bosses, or if you are a boss, do fit workplace charges and have an agreement with your staff as to how they might contribute to that, or that might just be a perk that you offer to employees. And that way, if you shift the way EVs are used, you still charge them regularly, but you don't necessarily have to charge them at a particular time, of the day when there's, cloud or whatever. I think really what AEMO wants us not to do is basically plug in when we get home from work and just start charging then, because that will dramatically worsen the duck curve, because a car can draw more than the average house easily. And if you've got two cars, if you're a 2 EV family, you can be pulling pretty hard and you are vastly greater than the capacity of the house.
I've got to run because I've got to pick up a car in a couple of minutes, but I'll just leave you with this thought. What we could do is we could overbuild the infrastructure. Whatever spare capacity there is, you could use to mine Bitcoin. And that load is always there, ready to be turned off and made available for EVs, for solar, whatever it may be. And and that overcapacity will, with the passage of time, will become undercapacity as we have the huge amount of energy hungry data centers and computer centers that are used to train and power AI models. So, overbuild it now, have some miners take up the slack, which will be taken over by data centers soon. But yeah.
One thing that's to our benefit, apparently WA is going to be, per capita, the largest battery storage grid on Earth per capita. So that's one slither of positivity.
So we shouldn't have to have
curtailment.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Or SCADA connected charges. All right. I better run.
No worries. Take care, Pete. Alrighty, has anyone got any questions or comments? And particularly any questions that, basic questions about Teslas, charging, road trips, anything?
Well, it's not a question, but there is something else that I noticed today that I thought you'd find quite interesting. I'm just going to post an image into the chat here, which, when it loads, I think you'll definitely recognise the map. There we go. It should be there now.
Oh, yes. Oh, no.
You'll definitely recognise the map if you want to pop it up on the screen there.
Okay. So, look, a similar thing happened to me when I had video. I posted up video at Lake Argyle, and Tesla did do something about you can drive anywhere around Australia on the supercharger network. And this is what they've done again, unfortunately. And yes, to be perfectly honest, there are no supercharger. Well, there's a supercharger now at Bowen, very new one. Bowen, Rockhampton, Calliope, Gympie, and then all of the eastern seaboard, all the way to Adelaide and just beyond. And there's one in Tassie, but yeah, and there's a few in southwest WA. But all of these other routes, there are 0 superchargers. So yeah, unfortunately, Tesla have copped a lot of criticism for putting this post up.
That's right.
And it's a bit of a rookie mistake, because had they simply
As
said,
well, they should.
you know, you can pretty much go any, sorry, I just can't see that right now because it's just, you can pretty much go anywhere using or driving a Tesla, then that would have been perfect,
Yep,
you know.
that's right.
But
Yeah.
not to fall in the trap of saying supercharger network, because, although, you know what we should say is, oh, so sorry, we didn't realize that you'd planned superchargers everywhere. That's awesome.
Yes.
When's it going to happen at Elon Musk? Because,
right.
you know, obviously if Anwar Beck can say at a Model 3 reveal, yell out when they were talking about superchargers,
Kazakhstan or something.
yelled out Kazakhstan, and there were 2 separate sites installed at Kazakhstan fairly soon afterwards. I just wish there was someone from Australia that just yelled out, how about all of Australia?
Yeah, I have to get Richard Smith or Hunter Murray to yell out, say, what about Northern Territory? And then they'll have to connect that up to the rest of the country. So there we go.
Yes, exactly right. And we really do need to get the Nullarbor done probably first, because that's a real scope. I mean, there'll be so many people driving Teslas backwards and forwards, you know, across the Nullarbor, you know, coming to Perth, and people from Perth going to Adelaide, Melbourne, whatever. And it would be awesome because, you know, after all, we're going to have the Tesla Semi coming in the next few years, and they will need megapacks and solar farms feeding those megapacks to charge up Tesla Semis, you know. And look, I'm sure the mining companies would love superchargers in the Pilbara, for example, you know, and even up and down the Great Northern Highway. Wouldn't that be a great thing? But yeah, thanks, Chuck. That yeah, it was a classic. Like I said, almost the very same thing was said about a video I put up in Kununurra. So yeah, they got caught again. But anyway, it's all good.
There are two more picks in the chat. One of them was an attempted community notes that I wrote, but sort of bring that one up. So for those who aren't regular users of X, this is just the way that you correct incorrect posts on Twitter, on X.
Oh, I must vote for that actually, because I'm on the community note doodad, so I'll upvote that.
The catch is you can't now, because if you look at the third picture in the chat.
Sorry, okay.
Look at the last one.
Oh.
they deleted the tweet. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. But as we all know, the internet never forgets, Chuck.
That's right. Yeah, someone screenshotted that into a forum, fortunately. So so that was lucky, because I managed to go back and get that afterwards.
Yeah, right. Oh, well, actually, that's probably a wise move, because
evidence.
I dare say that. Look, good on Tesla for being a bit proactive, because, you know, it wasn't that long ago where there was no Australia-New Zealand X handle at all, and they were just radio silence the whole time. So I guess good on them for being a little bit more interactive. But yeah, please in future choose your words a bit more carefully. And if they'd simply just said you can pretty much go anywhere in the country in a Tesla, then that's a true thing. That really is true.
Oh yeah, then the post would have been shared by all of us. We would have had positive things to say and all that kind of stuff. So,
yes, yeah, absolutely.
And they would have deleted it.
And then yes. Now for completeness, Ken put up, I think this is Manila. So that's the flat mounted panels. Actually, not as many as I thought there would be, but I guess there's still probably quite a few. And the other photo was the kiosk just there. Oh, and you can actually see the solar in the background at Manila Town.
And that was a photo from Sunday just gone.
Awesome. Fantastic. Now, by the way, just to reiterate, a lot of people have criticised the WAV network or Horizon Power for putting it basically in the middle of nowhere at the turnoff and not actually a dozen Ks or so south at the Manila Roadhouse. The truth of the matter is that the Manila Roadhouse were not amenable to housing that charger for a cost that could be agreed with Horizon Power. I guess that's the most polite way to say it. So rightly, Horizon Power have installed it at a place where there is probably zero cost, because that would be put on road reserve. So it's not that Horizon Power negligently sort of chose to make it less convenient for EV owners. They literally chose to put it where it could be afforded to be placed, and that's just the way it is. And to be
That's fine.
brutally honest, I don't care where it's placed as long as it's somewhere useful that I can charge my car and not have to spend, 18 hours on a 10 amp outlet or 5 hours on a 3-phase outlet. Any DC charger in the middle of nowhere is a beautiful thing.
And it's a drive-through.
Yes, and you can, and I will use that with my caravan. That's right. Absolutely.
Do we have any
Oh, dear.
update of what's happening between Norseman and the border?
Yeah, so that will not be completed for a number of months. So that's going to be done at the very end of the project. So I think basically everything else will be done first before they tackle the Nullarbor. So at the very end. Don't know. I presume it's at the end of this calendar year, but it could be sometime sooner. You just don't know. But not any time super soon. But then, to be honest, it's not that bad across the Nullarbor, because you've got a 20 kilowatt Delta charger at Balladonia. You've got, apparently there's a bit of news. The Kaiguna charger seems to be working again. I had a chat with John Edwards, and they've apparently managed to get the generator working relatively properly again. So that's a good thing. And then you've also got 3-phase power at Cocklebiddy. You've got 3-phase power at Mundrabilla. Sorry, before then it's Mandurah Pass Oasis. You've got a 20 kilowatt Delta, and you've also got 3-phase power at Mundrabilla. And the great thing is you can get from Mundrabilla to Nullarbor Roadhouse without having to stop at Eucla or Border Village. And incidentally, Border Village has got an awesome RAA single phase 7 kilowatt type 2 outlet coming sometime.
Awesome.
Which will be awesome if you're overnighting at Border Village. And also at Yalalta, they're also putting one in. But again, you don't need Yalalta to get to Nullarbor Roadhouse from Ceduna in a car. So really, yeah, it'll be nice to get the Nullarbor finished, but it'll be later this year. Don't exactly know when. Alrighty. Michelle, is Walpole still offline? I think it.
Oh,
As in,
who
sorry,
knows?
when I say offline, I mean free vend. So
It was free vend, and then I went there to use it, and it just wasn't working. It was
Right.
it was just showing that both ports were in use, and you couldn't use either of them. So I sent a report in.
How long ago was that, Michelle?
It was in the last week of school, last week sometime.
Okay, because at the moment it's showing as being completely available on the app.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, it was
hopefully-
showing on the app that they were both in use. So it's probably been fixed.
Yes, because they're showing now as, oh, you can't see that, it's too small,
Yeah.
but they're showing now as available, which is a
Yep.
good thing.
Yes.
Don't know if Ken's still in the room. Ken, is Jurien Bay still offline? Still free vend?
That's my understanding. It's still working fine, but free vend.
Oh, yes, it is too.
I
Yes.
haven't driven. Yeah.
Yeah, it's showing. Yeah, everything shows as offline on the app, but it is free vend.
Yeah, it is still working fine.
Cool. Awesome. And look,
Can I just ask?
yes, Michelle.
Are there any charges going up the Great Central Road yet?
You mean Great Northern Highway?
The Great Northern Highway, sorry, yeah.
No,
No.
that is the gaping gap.
Yeah.
That really is. It just needs to be filled in. It's going to cost less than $5 million to install the less than 10 locations.
Yeah.
And it's madness that the government doesn't bring the same benefits to that region of WA as the coastal region and the wheat belt enjoys.
Yep.
So
Is there a charger at I should have looked on PlugShare. Is there a charger in Newman?
no, there's a charger in Paraburdoo and actually, let me just get PlugShare up. There is a fast DC charger at.
I know there's one at Mungina.
So
But if I've got to go that way.
Sorry, Tom Price and Paraburdoo.
Oh yeah.
So Paraburdoo has a Tritium RT.
Yep.
And that's a 50 kilowatt, and Tom Price has a 22 or 25 kilowatt ABB.
Which really gives me the shits because I don't want to go to either of those places. I want to go to Newman.
Yeah, Newman.
And they're so out of the way.
Yeah, and Newman has nothing. It doesn't even have 3-phase officially.
Oh.
It doesn't have plug shared 3-phase.
Yeah.
Obviously,
No,
there'll be
I've got
caravan.
friends there, so I can.
And there's at the caravan park there is, well, I mean,
Yeah.
there's caravan main sockets, obviously, because that's what a caravan park is. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's all there is. So unfortunately, that is one big omission. And look, you know, the state government tipped in $5.2 million of extra funding to uncap the EV rebate, the $3,500 EV rebate for any EVs that had a purchase price, a dutiable value of less than $70,000. It was always going to end in, I think it's May next year on a certain date, and it had a 10,000 application limit. They've basically decided to uncap that limit, but just maintain the same termination date. Now, with that $5.2 million, the fact is that all of those EVs that are going to get those applications were going to be purchased anyway, to be perfectly frank, the vast majority. So the state government could have tipped that $5.2 million into the Great Northern Highway and opened up that entire corridor through the central mid part of Western Australia.
Yeah, it's a bloody pain because I would go to Newman more frequently than I go to anywhere else up there. And I've just got to go all the way around. And then when I get there, there's no decent bloody charges there anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And I completely understand your frustration. That we've actually got a map that, here it is here. It's just these locations at a minimum. Darwallinu, Paynes Fine, Mount Magnet, Meekatharra, Coomarina, Newman, and Oski.
Well, there's one at Oski already.
No, this is Fast DC. These are fast.
Oh, okay.
This is the Fast DC. So
Yeah.
this is the WAV network rollout map as it was.
Right.
Obviously, like I said, Mueller Ranges is now called something. It's a slightly different location, but
Yep.
the bits in red are what TOCWA suggested.
Yeah.
should be an addition for the Great Northern Highway. Actually, to be technical, and you got Dalwallinu. So Dalwallinu is in the Swiss, so that's a synergy project. But all of the others,
Yeah.
7 in total, well, 6, and then including Dalwallinu 7, that is all that is required to gain access all the way to Port Hedland through the inland route.
Yeah.
And that would cost less than $5 million.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of money when you've got multi-billion-dollar surpluses.
What's that? There is one at Dalwallinu though, isn't there?
Oh, sorry, yes, there is. So at the council have installed a 50 kilowatt RTM. The thing is, and look, and they should be applauded for doing so. The only issue is because it's a council, I'm just trying to bring it up on PlugShare. There we go. Because it's a council-owned asset, it doesn't have the same level of service and access as would the WAV network, because if it breaks down or is vandalized, it relies on someone at the council being told, and then them having to, you know, put in a work order or maintenance order or request or whatever. And, you know, they might be busy, they might be sick of it, it might have been vandalized a few times. You know, it can be a bit of an albatross around their necks, as were the charges that were originally installed by the RAC. I think the biggest problem that the RAC generated was they gifted it to the council, but really the council, it just became a liability to them. It never earned money, and it was only ever a source of expenditure. So they kind of got sick of them. So as great as it is for 1 or 2 councils to organically have the initiative to install these things, you really, for a backbone trailblazing system, you really want that to be more centrally controlled and to be accountable by a larger body. Because, you know, for example, look at Kojonup. Prior to the WAV network or prior to the superchargers, that RT tritium has been on and off the blink forever, basically. And yes, we can jump up and down and say to the council, oh, we really wish the council would fix that thing that they were gifted by Synergy. There's a limit to what we can do. But if it's WAV network, we can then get on to the Honourable Reece Whitby being the co-energy minister and environment minister who's responsible for the WAV network, and say, hey, minister, why is this thing not working? Why is the hashtag WAEV not work trending? You know, so because of that high level of accountability, it's much better to have the WAV network do that backbone infrastructure, because then if all the private companies come in or councils do a few extra bits, that's great, but they'll never look after it or have the impetus to look after it the same as the WAV network. But yes, but you're absolutely right. Dalwallinu is a thing, and that's a great initiative by the council.
Yeah.
Oh, alrighty. We've got any other questions or comments? No? All right, we can, oh, Pete's not here. And as a reminder, as what Pete said, please, if you haven't purchased tickets for the electric go-karts this Sunday, please do. I think there are only about a dozen tickets left. So please make sure you don't miss out. And obviously anyone is welcome to go there as like a casual meetup. So you don't have to pay to enter the go-karts if you're not driving. You can just meet up with others that are and other people that aren't, just to have a chat and a casual meetup. So let me just get set up here. So no last questions, comments. Chuck, you've got everything. You're happy with the progress of the NRMA? Yeah, have you heard any more sites that are being started on next, apart from Adelaide?
No, they have gone to one of the councils in Tassie for one of their Tassie sites in Ross, which is right in the middle. So that'll be good. There'll be a 4-stall one with 2 ABB units. So that's good. And they're working on a second site in Tassie as well. Actually, one that someone did draw attention to over the week was, I'm just going to find the link quickly. There are a couple of sites in regional Queensland. I'm just going to paste the link into the chat here. This is a site that someone had noticed. It's a normal on-grid NRMA site, on network site, but yeah, it's got a single ABB Terra unit, similar to what the others have, and then it's got a single 24 kilowatt unit. So it's like it might be a smaller grid capacity there.
Yeah, right. Oh,
So
actually, is that an ABB or is that a FreeWire? No, that's.
Oh, actually, I'm not actually sure. Actually, it does look pretty deep, doesn't it?
It does, and it
Looks deeper than the normal ABBs.
I wonder if that's a FreeWire. Actually, we'll know if when we look at the power levels. What's it say? It doesn't say.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I'm just going to have a quick look at. I'm just have a
on the
quick look at Mittagong. No, it's not live yet.
Soon. No, it's coming soon.
I'm just gonna look at Mittagong. Is it Mittagong that the other one is?
Yeah, they've been pulled out, but they would have had photos of them.
Yeah. Scrolling around trying to find it here. There's so many fast chargers outside of Sydney now. It's hard to find the right one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that, look, it's great that NRMA are putting chargers in Tassie, but I mean, I've got to say, Tassie's you're doing pretty well as far as fast DC chargers go. Let me just get the map up here. Like, this is just awesome, considering that from Devonport to Hobart is 300 k's. Ish.
Yeah, actually, I've actually done a few longer trips. So if you look at that map from Hobart, I've done 3 trips without charging from there. One of them is to Zeehan, which is over on the west coast.
That one?
Just a little bit further north. Zeehan.
Oh, Zeehan. Oh, yes. Yeah. I've been to Zeehan. Yes. To Zeehan. Yep.
So I've done Hobart to Zeehan on one trip. I've done Hobart to Wynyard, which is a bit further north near Burnie on the coast. Well, up on the north coast.
Near Burnie.
Wynyard. There we go. Just there next to.
Been there. Yes.
Yep. So I've done that.
That's the airport. Yes, Burnie Airport, which is really weird because it's
Yep.
And the last.
Yep. And the last one is St Helens, which is on the east coast up the far north.
Right here. Yes.
Yeah. So those are 3 destinations that I've done on one charge in my rear-wheel drive Model 3 from Hobart. So that gives a bit of an example as to how small the state is, or alternatively as to how good the range is.
Right, and have you been to what's this called?
No, Cockle Creek.
Yeah, I've been to Cockle Creek.
No, I've been to Southport. That's as far as I've gone.
Yeah, and have you been to Land's End? What's it called?
Edge of the World.
Edge of the World? No.
Anyway, it's enough of that.
Well, when I did a tour of the UK a couple of months ago, I met a gentleman whose wife, they're both Scottish, and she had never been out of Scotland, ever, in 60 years. And I go, but London's only 300 miles away. No, never even touched England. So
I'm sorry, I'm failing to see what the problem is with that. You certainly would never want to go to in London.
I was just
waiting. Sassenachs.
Well, we did also drive along Hadrian's Wall, and it wasn't as intact as it was in the olden days, but still.
Damn it.
Dearie me.
Anyway, just a quick little comment before I go, I have looked at the Mittagong pictures, and it's not a FreeWire or an Illumina, which is what the new ones there are. So
Yeah,
it
so
probably is an
right.
ABB.
It is an ABB, right? So
Well,
it's a,
probably is. Yeah.
probably. So it'd be a Terra 180,
Well, yeah, that's it.
which is cool.
You're forcing me to go look at the others now and have a look.
Yeah. Well, it's always good to know. It's always good to know what they're doing. I mean, look, good on them. I just wish they would just pick the black spots, and we know what they are. They're Timber Creek. You really need one probably at Victoria River Roadhouse as well. Although Timber Creek's good enough. You need Camberwell. You need Barclay Homestead. You don't need an awful lot. You need Daly Waters, Elliot, a few south of Eldunda, so Marla and whatever, down to Port Augusta, going down the guts, and after that, that's it. Because by the end of this year, the WAV network will have all of Western Australia covered, except for the Great Northern Highway, and you just got a little bit of the Northern Territory and South Australia. Everything else is done, and Tassie's done. So that's all that the NRA needs to do is half a dozen charges will make a lap a breeze, whereby it's no longer an achievement. It's just like, so what? Anyone can do that, which is what you want.
Yeah, I think it's more capacity as well in Tassie, because in the middle where Ross is, we're currently dependent on 2 tritiums. So say no more. But that's all right.
Yeah, and I really wish they worked better than they did, because they sort of on paper look like a great design. They're hermetically sealed, which is a really good feature. But if you haven't got the support, or you've used off-the-shelf equipment that's not up to it, and you don't have the backup, and you've gone broke, it's kind of just bad. It really is. Oh well. On that somber note, unless there's any other last comments or questions,
No,
we might roll out.
I am just comparing pictures of other NRMA sites, and they are ABBs. Yeah, so that's what
ABBs. Yeah, cool, excellent. Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at the, if you actually, and this will be the last thing we do, if you look at the Three Ways site, Rob Dean actually took a photo. It's a bit hard to see here. He took a much close-up photo, but there are bags around the actual charge plugs, and they've actually been light struck, and they've basically perished in the sunlight, and they're basically no longer protecting the plugs anymore, because they've been there so long that the wait has been so long for Three Ways / Tennant Creek to be finished, and really that's a real opportunity lost, which is a real shame. But anyway, alrighty. Well, I'm sure that if I'd asked Pete Petrosky how to round out this awesome show, he would say something like, as always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve. Although at the moment he's following his own curve, being the road to drop off a car at the moment. But then I would reply to him, and the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. On that great note, I hope everyone has an awesome week, and we really, and also have a great time at the go-karts for everyone who's going. And in the meantime, I really look forward to you all joining us on next week's episode of Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.